Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Today we have a bunch of topics. Where's my list? Okay, Linda, this is just for you. Oh, sorry. Here we go. All of the topics that we're going to cover. We are going to do a little bit of travel news right at the start because we need to talk about the whole situation in Puerto Vallarta just briefly. We'll just talk about that a little bit. So, as you probably are aware, there was quite a lot of to do with the what was it? The U.S. government apparently had some intel on the one of the cartel leaders in Puerto Vallarta area, and so the Mexican government went in, and I don't know if they were trying to arrest him or what, but anyways, he ended up getting killed in the process, and also there were quite a few other. Um, Injuries and whatnot. Sounds like it was 25 members of the National Guard were killed, as well as 43 cartel members. There was one woman who was pregnant who got caught in the crossfire. So she is actually the only civilian or local resident. I don't think she was a tourist. She's the only sort of non-cartel, non-government person to have been injured, from what reports are saying. So it was very much targeted. So, anyways, blah blah blah. The government went in, they killed the cartel leader, and then the cartels reacted and basically started lighting buses on fire, lighting vehicles on fire. I think the idea was they were trying to block their entry into to Puerto Vallarta and into Guadalajara. Um, there were no reports of issues in Mazatlan. There were no reports of issues anywhere else on the West Coast other than within that area, sort of Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. And also nothing in Cancun. The police actually were driving around. There was you guys, the AI videos were insane. So the police actually, they went around, might have been the military. They went to the places where they were showing that there had been fires in and around Cancun or Playa del Carmen, and they were doing contrast videos to show that clearly there had not been any real fires. So it's really tough. I was fooling around with AI last week doing some stuff for my niece, and it's amazing how realistic this stuff can look. So, just bear that in mind. And they say, use only the information from the official governments. Well, um, with that day, we looked online, and basically the Canadian government was saying that in all areas of Mexico, you should avoid non-essential travel, which is just stupid. Yes, I understand out of an abundance of caution, blah, 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 blah. But like, give your head a shake. If there's a protest in Toronto, do you go like shelter in place in Vancouver? No. If there's an issue in Seattle, Washington, let's say the Seahawks hadn't won the Super Bowl and there's rioting and protests. Do you tell people in California to shelter in place? Do you tell people in Miami to shelter in place? No, you don't, because it's thousands of miles away. So that was the first stupid part, So yes, you should take advice only from the government, but and then we had the fabulous leader in Ontario, Doug Ford, who basically said, you should avoid travel to Mexico right now and instead go to some island or maybe just stay in Canada. So, well done, Dougie. The entire travel industry revolted against that because, again, just a stupid, stupid, thoughtless comment. Um, and this is on the heels of me coming back from South Africa, where there's shanty towns and people who live in 5 by 5 foot steel corrugated homes, if you want to call them a home. Um, so yeah. So I'm going to Mexico in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks actually, a week and a half. I'll be heading to Puerto Vallarta. We'll be going live from there. Super, super excited to try out this. It's a new, it's a magnetic phone fan, which again, shout out to my niece's husband, Ross, who works at the store called Camera Stuff, who basically hooked me onto this. Let me know in the comments, have you ever even heard of a fan? It basically would attach to your phone. And Elizabeth, if you're watching or on the replay, I will be doing a video of this when I'm down there, and letting you know how it works. They say that doing a video, there we go, doing a video live on your phone burns about the same amount of battery as gaming. It's very intensive, and basically with this, you just hook it on the back of your phone and turn it on. Is that even on? No, not yet. No, there was some way to do it. I don't know. I only got this the other day. I'll have to play around. Anyways, so what it does is, oh, there we go. Okay, so that's lit up. That's on level 1. I'll put this right by my ear. You can barely hear that. But the idea is it cools your phone while you have it doing some somewhat labor-intensive operation. And so it makes the battery last longer. And those of you who know me, Tammy, Dean, everybody else, you know that I get battery anxiety. Angelo, you probably know that as well. And so it should make the phone last longer. And if that is the case, first of all, my question to you is, why the heck aren't they talking about this product and screaming about it from the hilltops? Second of all, it's cheap as chips. I think it cost me $30. And third of all, if it makes your battery last longer, giddy up on that. So anyways, just a little sidebar. Yeah, I am gonna go over that. So that'll be in 2 weeks. 2 weeks Wednesday. We'll probably be playing around with the time again a little bit, just because when I'm filming, I want to make sure that we don't have loud resort music going on in the background, copyright strike. And also just to make sure it's a little bit more quiet in the background. Okay, one other point before we move on to foods and, well, mostly foods of Africa and London. Cabo, if you are heading to Cabo, or you know anybody who's heading to Cabo, of course they have their version of the Visitax, which is called Embrace It. And with that, this is not optional. Not optional, folks. Neither is Visitax, and I know that there are a bunch of people who are saying, well, I've been there 5 times since they put it in, and nobody ever asked me for it. I never got stopped. It is directly tied to your passport. People, if you don't do this, there are going to be repercussions. And in fact, in Cabo, their tax, because it is mandatory, they're implementing roadside curb checks. These are mandatory stop points where they will be checking if you've paid it. If you haven't, I mean, aside from probably getting a bollocking from the police person who's pulled you over, you will have to pay it in that second. You cannot pay cash, which is, I guess, good, because then that would lead to opportunities for either bribery or other nefarious behaviors. So you will have to go online and do that. So if you don't have data, if you don't know how to use your cell phone, this is gonna be really problematic, and so, yeah, just pay the tax, folks. It's 488 pesos, which is roughly $35 Canadian or $28 American. So if you're going to Cabo, just pay the tax. Do you really wanna be that person that gets pulled over on the side of the road, whether you're in a taxi, an Uber, maybe even a tourist shuttle bus, and you haven't paid the tax, and then you're either holding everybody up, or you're delaying your own vacation, or you're potentially gonna get into trouble because, you can't pay it, whatever. Just don't go there. That's my advice. Okay. Alright. Moving on to the fun stuff. Oh, we did that. Okay, talking about food. The way I'm gonna do these today, I'm gonna light these they're gonna light up once we've discussed them. So I'm not gonna make them go gray like I normally do. There was just there's too many. Best pie and liquor. Okay, this is a weird thing. My husband was born in England. He'd never heard of pie and liquor. And by liquor, we don't mean alcohol. It's a sauce. It's a parsley sauce. We didn't have it because why are you gonna ruin a pie with something that you don't really potentially like? But what we did do is, we went to a shop where we found it. Tammy said she just had people go to Cabo and didn't think the tax was, mentioned on their travel docs. And that's so going back to the Embrace It tax, I think that's where we as travel agents need to tell, people, um, about the tax and stuff like that. Some people seem to think that it's included in their airport, in the flight fees. It is not. Obviously, Tammy, you know that. Same as Visa tax. It's not included. There are other taxes that are included, but the airport is not in any way, shape, or form going to be collecting these local taxes. So they just have to be paid separately. And like I said, the important part of this is that it's now being enforced. So that's the critical piece. So going back to this pod place, let me see if I can see. I don't think I have a picture of the outside of the pie place, but this is a little clip of us talking about the pie. I had a cheese and onion pie, which was good, but very, very rich, like cheese and onion, and wow. And then what else is it? And it was called Godard's at Greenwich. So you know where the Greenwich Mean Time? There's actually a place where you can go. You can actually stand on either side of the line of Greenwich Mean Time. I didn't do that because it was gonna cost 25 pounds just to get in. So I took pictures of other people doing it. But Godard's is in the sort of area of Greenwich. It's a lovely area. We wouldn't have gone there other than friends of ours who'd gone on the Thames. They stopped there, so they got out and they walked around, and it is a gorgeous area. And because it's outside of downtown London, prices are a little bit better. So anyways, here's a clip of us. I had the cheese and onion pie. Dean got steak and kidney. Anyways, here's a little clip of us talking about that. Okay, let me know in the comments, did you actually hear anything there? Because I could not hear anything, and I'm not sure if that was just, the way it was replaying or if it's to do with the way I loaded it. The gist of it was, we got these pies. They were, I think, £3.10 each, which is cheap. That's, like, basically $6, Canadian, and, They weren't huge, but they were filling, and they were like, the steak one was full of steak. I don't like the taste because it's got that kind of irony, um, taste to it with the kidney. But cheap and cheerful, and also this is one of the places where they can serve it with, you can have it with gravy, or you can have it with liquor, or you can just have it on its own. And again, the liquor um, is a parsley-based sauce. Ah, okay, no sound. Okay, okay. Well, that's gonna be a bit of a problem. I think most of the videos I have, it's just showing you stuff, so that shouldn't be a problem, even if there's no sound, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll adapt. But anyways, yeah, that pie was really good. I do have a better pie to show you that later on. Do I? Where is that? No, we'll get to that. Okay, I wanna show you, okay, this was, we're going on to the next one. So this is, best and worst bacon butty. Bacon butty, for those of you who don't know, basically a bacon sandwich. It's, British bacon, which is, like, for us, would be our, mm, the cornmeal bacon. Tammy, what's that stuff called? It's usually round, and they slice it so it's in circles. I can't think what it's called right now. Back bacon, maybe? Anyways, let me see if I can find the picture. Is here. Okay, so this was a bacon butty at, where was this one? This one was not bad. That was from Greg's. And there's also Pret a Manger, which has bacon sandwiches, and that one is, I think, here. Okay, so actually this first one, that is from Pret a Manger, not from the airport one, but not a bad amount of bacon. The other one was from Greg's and had significantly more bacon to it. So, best deal and similar pricing on both. So definitely Greg's is your go-to for like little toasted sandwiches or sausage roll or bacon butty. So definitely bear that in mind. Okay. And I'm moving on to Africa. Well, we're gonna come back because we did 4 nights. Yeah, we did 4 nights in London, and then we did 3 weeks in Africa, and then we did 3 nights in London. So we're gonna come back on that towards the end as well. Um, yeah, best and worst food. Yeah. Okay, I want to show you what so this is a barbecue that is very common in South Africa. And here we've got another shot of it, and that is showing we've got some T-bones on the barbecue. You can see how they've got the fire built. They use wood, and so they've got wood on the side, and then they rake the coals underneath, moving them to the left underneath the food. So in the front, you can see that casserole dish. On the left-hand side is bacon rashers, which is like really thick, be like pork belly bacon. And then on the right, you can sort of see the coiled sausage, and that is traditional boerewors, which is directly translates to farmer sausage. A lot of cumin, coriander, and different flavors as well. So we had it's typically a mix of pork and beef. And then we also were able to get some Bob and Doris, Keith and Wendy, if you're watching, you will be able to try both the regular as well as the one with cheese, and also one with cheese and jalapeno. And we had that. That was part of that lump of food in front of the barbecue there. The cheese and jalapeno one looks the same. It's just full of flavor. So it's very, very nice. Okay, we did the African braai. Okay, now the most popular and common sandwich that you will find in Africa that the locals would eat is a burvis roll. And that is what this looks like. So again, it's that sausage, usually with some slow cooked onions, caramelized onions. And I had this one with grainy mustard as well. It was absolutely delicious. And usually it's a nice, freshly baked, flaky roll. My mouth is watering as I talk about it. It's absolutely delicious. Going back, where are we at? Going back to the African braai, I just also wanted to show you. So my nephew, he brought along some beef fillet. I don't know if that's the best picture. That's a pretty good picture. They also cut up some chilies with it. He was very, very disappointed in the way it was cooked. As you can see on the right-hand side, more pink in the middle, and as you can see on the left, a little bit more well done. I thought it was cooked to perfection, in my opinion. It was absolutely delicious, but he was unhappy. He felt it was overcooked. But that represents about $25 worth of meat. So barbecues are cheap as chips out there. So you will know that it's very, very common when in Africa for them to have a lot of meat-based barbecues, or they call them braais. They'll correct you. They'll happily correct you if you say barbecue. Yeah, that was that one. Okay, bunny chow. This was something totally different. I'd never had it before. Traditionally, bunny chow is a chicken curry inside of a hollowed out loaf. Now, there's rumor is that they had initially, people used to do this. They would take a loaf of bread, which the workers were allowed to have, but they would take the middle out and they would put the unctuous stew inside of it, sort of hiding it so that the boss wouldn't know that you had nicked all this stew. So I wanted to try it. I ended up, we were in Umhlanga at a pub called the George. So for all of our group who were going to Durban after the cruise, the George is a really great place to go for a bite to eat. I wasn't a huge fan of this, simply because it was very, very rich. And I mean, that was called a mini bunny chow. I think it cost, I want to say $5 Canadian. And those are two proper large hamburger buns. Like this, I know it's a bit hard to tell, but if you put a fork in front of it, the fork would sort of cover the length of those two buns. Might even be a little bit bigger than the fork. But that was kind of it was interesting. It was, so you got to try something different, right? So that was bunny chow. And then the other thing that we looked up was the next one, which was shisha nyama. And I didn't know what it was. We were trying to look based on the description, and it sort of said it was meat. Of course, I Googled it, and it's a Zulu word which directly translates to burnt meat or charred meat. And we're like, oh, giddy up. And that was here. We were expecting something that would look a little bit more like this, like a dry, sauceless meat. That's, I think, kind of what we were hoping for. This instead is what we got. So it came with a pickled onion, sort of almost like a what's the Asian thing? I cannot think of the word right now. What you would put on a Korean bao bun. Kimchi. It's almost like a kimchi. So sort of pickled onions, and then again, I had some peppers on the side. They're really big into the spicy food. And then it was almost like in a barbecue sauce. And for me, I'm like, I don't need to have North American food when I'm on vacation in Africa. So one of the things that we found is a a lot of the food had sauce on it, and a lot of it was sort of deep fried, battered and deep fried. I don't have a whole bunch of pictures of that, but you're in a country where it's like 30, 35 degrees. Last thing you're kind of looking for is battered deep fried with the sauce. That said, the sauces were pretty amazing, such that I actually brought home. Let me see if I put this in here. Oh, chip shop Sharni. Yeah, that's coming up next. I went to the shops and I got this. I got mushroom powder to make sauce as well as pepper sauce. Tammy, I will let you know if this tastes like the mushroom sauce that we had in Rarotonga. I know the stuff that I had when I was in Africa, the mushroom sauce did taste like the stuff from Rarotonga. Delish. But also, I would like, that's why I like going to the grocery stores. You find all kinds of cool stuff like this. We can get some of these in Canada or on Amazon. This is cook in a bag, and this one's garlic and rosemary. So basically, you get your chicken or pork or whatever. It's seasoning in here. This side of the packet is a plastic bag. You put all the stuff in the bag, and then you put it in the oven. You bake it, and it's remarkably moist and just incredibly tasty. And then I got a couple more. And we got what's this? California style. So I don't know what that one's like. This is probably going to be like kind of like the Mexican flavor packets you can get, where you normally, the liquid you would marinate it in is like an orange juice or a mango juice. And then it's got sort of a spicy, citrusy flavoring. So that was one. And then the other one was Frank's Red Hot, so buffalo sauce. So that was kind of cool. So anyways, yeah, I mean, that's why I like going to the grocery stores, because you get to find all this stuff. And we had gone to the grocery store, I think, one night. We'd been out. Oh, that was the day we'd gone to Umhlanga, and we had a big lunch. So then when we got back, we weren't really interested in dinner. So instead, we got some, they call them slop chips in Africa. And when you see them, you'll understand. I mean, we've all had chips like this before, sort of greasy, sort of crispy, but just downright delicious. So let's take a look at that. It's a little video, but it will, if it doesn't have sound, that's okay, because there's not really any talking. And we took the slop chips, there we go, and put them into a sandwich with HP sauce. So let's have a look. So yeah, the chips are like incredibly crispy, but also just have that amazing, amazing flavor to them. So yeah. Oh, and okay, and then this is the other one I wanted to show you. So Dean's nephew took us out for a lovely steak dinner, and he had the picanha. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So that was kind of all that was on the plate. There were sides. I think he had some asparagus and potato, or maybe chips, I forget. And but I had a fillet, and just to put it in perspective, 200-gram fillet is 255 rand, which of course I don't have that on here anymore, but oh no, I do. Okay, so 255 is basically 22 bucks Canadian. So so imagine going to the Keg or like an Angus steakhouse in America, and being able to get a really nice steak. American would be about $16, $17. Fantastic. So for you guys who are on this, doing your safari stuff after the cruise, definitely, if they take you to a steak restaurant, like, go to town, order, because it's amazing. Oh, that's on the next one. What else do we have here? Oh, this was me. Again, deep fried, battered and deep fried. This was just some chicken strips that I got one day with chips. And I got a different sauce than the mushroom sauce. I got a trincetta sauce, and this is where I'm gonna lead towards the absolute best, meal that we had in Africa. Again, Deed's nephew took us out to the pub to watch a soccer game, and while we were there, we were looking at the menu, and we came across this. It's called a trinchatto pie. So as you can see, beef in a creamy sauce, hint of chili. It did have a little bit of spice to it. 165 rand. So again, that is 165, 14 bucks. And this is the size of it. So basically covered the whole plate. Now, with that particular pie, what they did is it's I don't have a picture of it sort of with the lid taken off because it's not an attractive photo. It looks not good. But when you get past the look of it, the flavor is insane. So he had this huge, as you can see, huge lid on the pie, and that's just pastry covering it up. So it's not a pie per se where you have the pastry bowl and then the sauce and then whatever the filling in the middle, and then topped off with pastry. This is just a casserole dish with the pastry lid on top. The pastry tasted like butter times 1,000. It was absolutely delicious. Very crumbly. So obviously it was homemade, probably made with lard. But the flavor was insane. And that, I mean, that part was really good. But then when you get to the sauce, and it was rich and it was massive. And oddly enough, my husband couldn't finish it. I had gotten a quesadilla. I don't know why. I thought it would be small amounts of food. Anyways, what it was a whole quesadilla, but just folded into a quarter of its size. And it was good. It's good enough. But it wasn't even in the same ballpark as the trinchatto pie. So when Steen finished, I was like, okay, pass the plate over. Quesadilla goes to the side. Yeah, you can take that away. I'm not wasting those calories anymore. And tucked into the trinchatto pie. Oh my god, it was so, so, so good. So hence me, later on asking when they had the trinchatto pie, asking for a side of the sauce. This one, it came without the chicken in it, which is, like, really, like, stewed, kind of low and slow kind of style, so it's very, pull apart. So the sauce on its own didn't have that, but otherwise, yeah, it was just so 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 good. Um, okay, and then moving on to the last one, best worst London food. So back in London, we went out for, well, like I said, we had the when we got to London, we landed at like 7:20 in the morning. And so I thought, well, from Heathrow going to downtown, we were for the second part of the stay, we were staying at the Marriott Marble Arch, which huge shout out is a great location. We were there over Valentine's Day. They had these little chocolates in the lobby for you to take, and they also had hot chocolate in the rooms. And this one fell into my bag somehow. Uh, Cadbury hot chocolate. It is incredibly rich. That alone is worth the reason to basically stay at the Marriott Marble Arch. Also because of the great location. But so we landed at 7:20, which is pretty standard for arrival time from Africa. And then it was like, well, what are we going to do? We thought rather than sit on the train with our luggage going into downtown London, where all the other commuters are going to be headed, we would hang out at the airport. Hence the bacon butty, and But the bacon buddy that we had at the airport was from Pret A Manger, and it had like, so compared to, I remember this one was pretty heavy duty bacon. Yeah, so that's like loaded with bacon. And the one that we got at the airport had 2 little pieces. It was like, "Where's the bacon? Where's the beef?" Probably can't say that because it's copyright, but that's okay. Don't tell anyone. So Greg's, like I said, Greg's is definitely a better place to go for breakfast food. But again, we were just killing time at Heathrow before. I mean, we weren't in a rush. It wasn't like we were ready to go and meet anybody or whatever. Um, Again, kudos to the Marriott Marble Arch. By the time we finally made our way there, and it's about 45 minutes from the airport to the hotel, uh, we got there at about oh, like 10:45, 11 o'clock. And Natalia, thank you again, was kind enough to find a room that was available so we could go in right away and just get settled and dump off, my laptop and any other electronics that we didn't want to carry with us. We just chuck it all in the safe. Now we're good to go and explore and wander around London again. So that was pretty cool. And so we did try some different stuff. I'm gonna show you. Okay, so the one day we walked around and we ended up just getting uh, the pubs were all extremely busy. Now we landed on a Friday morning, so Friday, Saturday, of course, people aren't working or they're finished their work week. So let's go to the pub and have a pint, and so we did that a lot. Again, this is a picture of a pint of beer and a pint of cider, roughly between 12 and 14 pounds, so about 20 to 25 Canadian. On the flip side, though, in London, nobody expects you to tip, and all the taxes are all included. So if you think about, so call it 7 pounds. Yeah, let's say it's 7 pounds for a pint of cider. By comparison, if I go to Sammy J's or Brown's and I want um, a can of Strongbow, which is either 440 milliliters or 500 milliliters, depending on what they have, um, probably that's going to be somewhere around $9, maybe 10. But on top of that, here in BC, you're going to have 5%, is that 5% PST as well as 10% liquor tax, and then you get a tip on top of that. So if you're tipping, the standard kind of 20%, all of a sudden it's kind of the same price as what you're paying in England. It just feels like it's more. But so like I said, the pubs were really busy. So instead, we decided to just go to Waitrose. Is it the one? Yeah, this is the one. And so we just got some cheese and some buns. They had lovely cheese and jalapeno twisty buns, as well as some olive rolls. And we got some prosciutto and some Dijonnaise, so it's like a Dijon flavored mustard. And that was our evening meal, which was actually really lovely. Pro tip is always when you go on vacation, pack some of these, because if you do decide to hit the easy button and just go to a local grocery store for some cheese and crackers or cheese and buns for the room, you're going to want to have probably a couple of these. Number one, you want one for any cheese or meat product, and then two, you're probably going to want to have a separate one so that the bread product can stay out on the counter, but it's sealed, so it's not going to get all hard and like crusty, but like non-edibly crusty. So yeah, I mean, I typically have 5 to 7 Ziploc bags, and it's surprising how often I use them. Even if you have like a wet bathing suit, probably not if you're going to London, but you know what I'm saying? You could put your stuff in the Ziploc if you're going to Mexico, and it's not gonna get the rest of your clothes sort of all, wet and that. Okay, this one I have to explain to you. So this next picture I'm gonna show you, this was described as a Jamaican jerk chicken dumpling. You tell me, in my mind, I hear the word dumpling and I hear, and my instant visual goes to like a gyoza or a pot sticker, like a soft Asian style dumpling. And this is what I got. I don't look at that and think dumpling. I look at that and I think maybe I would call that like jerk chicken stuffed buns or dough balls, something. I don't know. Not dumplings, not from my perspective anyways. They were very dry and it was not good. I don't remember, luckily for the pub, I don't remember the name of it. But it was part of the Green Kings rather, franchise. So that wasn't great. And then we went to another day. We had gone to this beautiful pub. It's as beautiful and authentic on the inside as it looks from the outside. As you can see, it was not a particularly lovely day out, because otherwise, just looking at as you look on the top right-hand side, there's a beautiful sort of patio there, which would have been nice. There's dining and tables all on the first floor, as well as all along the second floor. And we were right on, oops, I want to show that. We were right on the Thames. So you could, from the second floor, you could actually see the water and you could see boats going past, which was quite nice. And this is where we actually had this really yummy meal. No, it's just a little bit of this and that. So at the top, we had a pea mint soup, which doesn't sound particularly sexy unless you like pea soup, mushy pea soup, not mushy pea, but like a pea soup. But it sounded interesting, and I thought we had to give it a try. On the right, that's crispy calamari, and it was fresh, and super tasty. And then the untouched plate on the left, that had just arrived, and that was a sharp English cheddar mac and cheese, and it was delicious. So that was, like I said, that was what does that say? I can't even read that. Oh, the Anchor pub. So yeah, if you're in London, look it up. It was near the Tate Modern, which we'd gone to because it was raining and it's free. We had done the National Gallery on the previous trip, and the National Gallery is also free. Any of the government-run museums or galleries have free admission. So considering everything else was sort of 25 to 40 pounds to get in, that seemed like a good way to escape the cold. So definitely check that out if you're going to London. And then what else do we have here? What was this? Oh yeah, that was what I just showed you. Oh, and that was the last food that we had in England. That was Dean had a toasty. He wanted the steak and onion. They were out, so instead he had the chicken tikka toasty. I'd say it probably took about half an hour to be delivered. Probably cooked about 10 minutes longer than it should have. Very dry, but yeah, what can I say? Should have just went back and had more of that mac and cheese. That was just delightful. Do I have any other pictures in here? Some of them kind of didn't end up getting loaded in the right order. So I'm just seeing. We did, of course, have some fish and chips. That was good. Just seeing if there's anything else I haven't shown you. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, but that pie, man. Trincado pie for the win. That was amazing. So yeah, there you have it. That's kind of our my food tour for you of best and worst and weird and wonderful. The buddy chow, the shishunyama, those, you had to try them because they're different. But some of the others, and they're trincado pie. I mean, like, what even is that? I have looked online because, of course, the first thing I do when I see or taste something that's that delicious is I want to figure out how to make that myself. And I think, again, with some of these sauce packets that we bought, I might be able to sort of work with that and expand on that. The trincado had, like I said, it was had a bit of a bite to it. And again, garlic and white wine sauce. But also it was made with a browned butter, so a little bit more flavor to it. Anyways, I'll have to play with it. If I can figure out how to make it and make it taste like that amazing one that we had, I will do a separate video on that. I know, and it's cooking, and I shouldn't be doing cooking on the travel channel, but so good, and some of the stuff you got to try. The burvis, I have made my own before. Again, I'll show you that here. We've both, my husband has made sausage before, goes to a friend's house and they grind up the meat and everything. So we've made burvis before. Again, it's, South Afrikaans for farmer sausage. But it's the way the seasonings are all put together. If you wanted to, instead of having it in the casing, which is traditional, what you could do is almost make it like a not a donair, but like a Halifax donair kind of, where you would take ground pork and ground beef and just sort of squish it together, almost like a meatloaf. And you could cook it that way, or almost cook it like, instead of shaping it into a hamburger, I would, you could shape it into a hamburger, but with all the correct seasonings for burvis. And the trick, I think, on these is to toast the seasonings. Makes a big difference. So yeah. But you can definitely give that a try too. If I could figure out some of these recipes, I'll do a separate video. What the heck? And just share some of those so that you can try these flavors at home, because they're very, very different. And I didn't realize how much of a Portuguese influence there was in South Africa, but Mozambique and forget the other country were ruled by the Portuguese many, many years ago, and then they kind of went independent. But a lot of the flavors are still there. So that's kind of where that influence comes from. So if you've ever been to a Nando's chicken, they have the peri-peri chicken, which is a spice, and that's got the Portuguese influence to it. Oh, thanks, Jane. Glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, I'll put together a video once like I said, I'll figure out the trincado sauce, and also the mushroom sauce and the burvis. And I'll just for you guys, I will do a separate video on how to make that yourself, so you can experience those flavors. They do also, a lot of times we'll have them at more like specialty butchers, or if you have any that have any South African butchers, they will happily make it for you. Or if you have any South African shops near you, definitely worth going in and giving it a try. So that is me for this week. Next week, we are back to normal again. And then the following week, I will be live from Puerto Vallarta. The following week after that will be probably live from the Rio Palace Pacifico. So we will go from there. But thanks for watching today. If you're watching on the replay, thank you also for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this little food tour of, I guess, Johannesburg, Durban, as well as London. So didn't quite break the bank. At least the London part didn't quite. Pretty close. Came close. But in Africa, the food is cheap as chips. So, and remember, that's the chips you could be having. So good. So good. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Hey, Louise. Thanks for watching. And yeah, we'll be back next week for more travel talk. And yeah, we'll go from there. So have a great day. Have a great rest of your week and have a great weekend. And we will see you next Wednesday. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. Bye for now.